suspicious of something that's almost as shallow as Paris Hilton.
Oh, geez, he went there. Well, hey, it's the top of the hour.
Hey, who hasn't been there?
Cheers, guys. Cheers. I'll get out of your hair, okay?
Hey, thank you, Dutch, for calling. I appreciate it. Hey, Vinny, it was great having you on tonight, man. You're gonna have to come on again. We'll have to talk.
Hey, anytime you want me, man. This has been freaking awesome.
Hey, folks, if you guys want to check out more about Vinny Eastwood, it's thevinnieeastwoodshow.com, and you can find him on American Freedom Radio. When we come back, folks, it's King's Court time, and we'll get into more of this. We have Smokin' Joe Trainer coming on in the second hour. All that and more here on Freedomlink Radio on the Intel Hub News Network. Don't go away, folks. We'll be right back. You are the things to kill.
Are you still paying your credit cards and so-called bank loans thinking that you owe the money? Do you feel like it's your moral obligation but can't see an end in sight? Well, what if I told you that in truth, you don't owe a single penny, and that the banks know this and hope you don't find out? Here's where we come in. Free2Prosper.com specializes in a profound debt repudiation method which challenges the validity of your so-called debts, morally frees you from the burdens, and protects your property. Our system is often superior to settlement, bankruptcy, or consolidation, which often leave you in a worse situation. If you feel the moral obligation to take care of yourself and your family, then I urge you to consider taking action right now. The economy will not wait. If you want to know more so you can prosper through the economic collapse, all while staying honorable and true to yourself, then call 877-417-8393. That's 877-417-8393. Or visit Free2Prosper.com right now.
Hey, it's me, Shepard, the host of the Intel Hub. Check out my live show every Sunday at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can check it out from my website, theintelhubradio.com. Join me, Joe Joseph, John King, and A.C. Griffith, Thursdays and Sunday evenings at 8 p.m. Eastern for Freedomlink Radio on the Intel Hub News Network.
A very wealthy U.S. citizen is predicting that in 2011, we will witness the most important day in America in more than 50 years. He says it will change everything about our lives. The way you shop, travel, invest, educate your children, and even how you take care of your health and family. Now this man has made some outrageous predictions over the years, but the crazy part is he's usually right. You see, he predicted the collapse of GM, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and America's biggest mall owner, General Growth Properties, a few years ago. In fact, Baronis called his work a dire prophecy. Now, this has nothing to do with the stock market, but it could have a huge impact on almost every aspect of your life. And recently, he created a video which you can watch online for free, detailing his biggest and most important prediction yet. And it's a real eye-opener. I can't stress this enough. You should at least watch this free video online today. He explains everything you need to know, including simple steps you can take to protect yourself. You can find the video at www.endofamerica8.com. Although this video may be offensive to some audiences, it's worth checking out. Again, that's www.endofamerica8.com. Watch this free video at www.endofamerica8.com. You are listening to the Intel Hub News Network, crushing the New World Order piece by piece.
All right, folks, we're back. Thank you for joining us. The number to call, 877-598-8549 if you have a question or comment, want to sound off. The website, www.thefreedomlinkradio.com. And before I get started and segue to my man, Mr. King, I just want to say, first of all, that he's been eerily accurate on his predictions. If anybody's been paying attention to the show, a lot of the stuff that he's been talking about is starting to come to light. So listen up and stand by. Here he is, the one, the only John King in his King's Court. John, take it away.
Thanks, Joe. The window of opportunity is quickly closing. I have said there will be riots in the cities during the summer. Things seem to be progressing in that direction. The marches of March are gearing up as 27 states vowed to march against budget cuts and collective bargaining issues, just to name a few. These will continue to heat up in the Middle East as the world continues to turn a deaf ear to the cries and aid for help. The U.S. will soon be exposed for having its hand in the proverbial honeypot, causing anger to be vented towards American Middle East interests. Expect to see gas prices start to rise as sudden supply shortages start to happen. Saudi Arabia steps in to fill the supply gap as the Saudi king worries about his future. Soon his hand will also be exposed, fueling anger as opposition comes in from the direction of the West. The Palestinians will use the revolution in the Middle East to garner support by the way of the Muslim Brotherhood to set up their free nation. Attacks on Israel will increase. Here in the U.S., many politicians drag their feet, and the people will continue to suffer. The violence, such as riots, will start in the north and will spread out in all directions, such as a cold would spread. Gold and silver will continue to climb as food prices and oil rise. The threat of hyperinflation will loom. We have had two such bailouts. The first was for the people. The second was for the banks and the corporations. And the third and final bailout will be for the states and to the cities. And when the cities default on the loan, she will be raped and disemboweled as the elite laugh like hyenas at a fresh kill, as the cities will then be ripe for corporatization and privatization. What we are facing here now, if the people of this world lose control to the New World Order, also known as the globalist banking cartels and corporations, will take what will seem like hundreds of years to break. Will we win? Yes. But until we sharpen our resolve and stand firm and know our boundaries and prepare, we will not. There is a mass awakening in the United States. The people should be passing out videos and information to others on social networking sites to expose what's going on. Let me recommend one for you. It's called The Wake Up Call. It's a very well done film that can be viewed if you go to our website at www.thefreedomlinkradio.com and click on Wake Up Call, a movie you must see. Pass the link around and educate the waking masses so, in the end, we all stand informed and united. In the end, we will win as the guilty will find due justice. For those of you out there that have not prepared and think God will save you, you're wrong. God helps those who help themselves. How do I know? He is a libertarian like me, and he does not approve of handouts. Joe?
Thank you very much, John. And folks, let's bring on Smoking Joe trainer Andrew to the show. Welcome aboard, buddy.
Hey, man, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing just fine. So the topic of discussion tonight, as you know, is the New Zealand earthquake and what could be the cause of it, and just the amount of coincidence that we've seen in the information that we've put out tonight is staggering, and just makes you wonder. Now, before all this happened, folks, let me tell you, I had no inkling that this was something other than a just total natural event. Nobody knew nothing. It just hit, and that was it. But as you've heard from experts like Dutch Sense, from the guys down in New Zealand, from Vinny Eastwood, that it's anything but an innocent event. There was no forethought. There was no nothing. Nobody knew anything. It was anything but that. And the idea and the objective here is to get to the bottom of this, and that's what everybody listening tonight needs to do. They need to go and ask questions and hold these people accountable. It's like Vinny said, the press in this country and in the world have for a long time now forsaken their job as vanguards of the truth, of asking the tough questions and holding these elitists, holding these people accountable for what they're doing. And it's not happening. So what happens? The press, who's supposed to inform the public, is now made the public not informed. And what happens when the public's not informed? Tyranny runs amok. And that's what we're faced with today. So what's your take on it, Andrew?
Well, I would fully agree with you on that, man. That's really become the biggest problem in our society. I think is that the media does not report on anything, and more important than that, the public does not demand that the media report to them on anything anymore. They just assume they're being told the truth, and I think in many cases they don't want to know the truth. They would rather believe what they're being told, like children with their parents.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more. Now, are you of the opinion that it was a scalar or HAARP type of incident, or is it more of a cosmic event with you?
Now, for myself, first of all, I did want to say I wish I could have talked to Vinny. He sounded just like one of the Kiwis I spent a lot of time working with in Afghanistan. But off that note, the guy that I follow, who, his science is astrophotometry, but John, who created the Casabio Virtual Institute, predicted we'd have a Southern Hemisphere earthquake. And, in fact, he's predicting we're going to have another one tomorrow or the day to follow due to solar activity, due to X-ray emissions just falling off all of a sudden. He said we're seeing the exact same spike, and he's saying we're looking at basically New Zealand, the Middle East, or New Madrid as the three most likely targets, with San Andreas as a loose fourth. So I think, not only was it a natural cosmic event, it's going to happen again very soon.
Yeah, no, I agree. Let me go to the phones here. Let's go to Pam in Colorado. Pam, you're live on the air. Welcome aboard.
Hello. Well, this has nothing to do with the earthquakes, but this is major. Bob Chapman put out in his international forecaster, and I'm just going to read it to you.
Sure.
But Bob Chapman confirms a USA tender to China, a written agreement granting an option to exercise eminent domain within the USA as collateral for China's continued purchase of U.S. Treasury notes and existing U.S. currency reserves. Put simply, the feds have now actually mortgaged the physical land and property of all citizens and businesses in the United States. And it goes on, and I can give you a link. But
right. Now I've heard that before, Pam. That's not the first time that I've heard that. I've actually heard that agreement was actually forged under Bush. And,
right.
Do you remember hearing that?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of research on the free trade zones and the EB-5, but apparently it says further on, the written agreement was brought to Beijing by Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and was formalized and agreed to during her recent trip to China.
And just so you know, folks, we've got an email into Bob on this, and we're going to have him on the show as soon as possible, so we can talk about this subject. But it's a very interesting concept to think about, because could you imagine the Chinese coming and eminent domaining whole cities? I mean, it's just
outrageous.
It's crazy.
But the federal government isn't supposed to own any property, so they can. I got to watch my mouth here. They don't own the property. They can't sign our property away. And unfortunately, if this is true, I think here's what's going to cause it. Because if it doesn't, then I don't know what will.
I have a hard time with that, only because I hope and I pray that people just won't roll over, and take something like that if it comes. You know what I mean? I hope and I pray that if there is something like that happens, that it becomes a target practice scenario, much like Generation Keeper in the chat room just said.
Well, Joe, if